Hello there. This is a short story about Keyshape and how I learned about it in the last 24 hours. It's a pretty cool animation vector graphics app, and it's pretty brand spanking new. So chances are good either you are like me and there was no YouTube videos and you found Juan and Juan helped you figure it out, and then you came and found me, because right now it's only Juan who is on YouTube. Seriously, Juan is the only guy who has made any videos so far about Keyshape, and so I watched the majority of them in the last 24 hours. Juan, thank you. He even was very responsive to answer a couple of my questions. But I really like this product, and I wanted to show you what I've done so far, just to kind of help get your feet wet, because it's so new. There's not really any documentation. You see a couple of these cool things, but if you're like me, you probably have some desire to get a little bit more information. But I think the future is bright for this product. I don't know really much more about it. But anyway, but I wanted to tell you how I found this this app, because it's kind of a personal story for me, and I would like to keep it down for my sake, because I'll probably watch this video more times than you will. So anyway, what's going on is that my oldest son, he's 9 years old right now, and he is living in Florida, and I'm not in Florida right now. It's a long story, but anyway, I had asked him if, while he's 9, and I asked him if he would want to try to create something through text message or in our phone calls, because we talk every couple of days or so. So he came back to me with a text message of this: Stickman and Small Girl. And I thought, okay, that is pretty awesome. So I wasn't sure exactly what his vision was for that, so I just ran that through Illustrator, and I sent him back kind of a literal interpretation of that. And I said, hey, what do you think of this? And his response was, well, I wasn't thinking you were going to do an exact. I wanted you, to kind of help me build it. And I said, no problem. And, he responded with from his app, and drew kind of a similar idea, which I thought was great practice. And then one of the other things we talked about was storyboarding. So he created a storyboard and sent that over. And again, I saved that, and I said, okay, I see where you're going. So what I ended up doing was jumping into Photoshop. And if you ever remember, so I don't really code I don't really design or use Photoshop anymore. So this is CS5, pre-CC. So I'm old school, but they have an animation tool down here. So I thought, okay, I used this a while ago, and let me see if I can create Stickman and Little Girl. Oops. Can I create a comic? So this was the origin, and then we ended up making this as a comic right here. And thus the first issue of Stick Dave and Small Girl. I like watching that. And what happened was I made it with Illustrator, old school style, where I just kind of created him jumping around, and I thought, okay, I need to find a better workflow, because I want to make Oscar ended up liking this, and I want to make another issue and keep going. So this is what prompted me to go look for an animation product. and lo and behold, I found keyframe. Now, as I said, there's not much documentation yet. I think there will be. This feels like it's a brand new product. I think they just came out with 1.6. I only got this yesterday, and I wanted to kind of check it out. But yeah, we're at 1.6. So again, I read as much as I could from the documentation here on support and went through all these various clicks, but I needed some interaction, and again, Juan helped me out. So I spent a good portion of yesterday and today coming up with some different products. So, here's one here that I ended up doing. Let's see, that's one. Let's see if this is a different one. Nope. So there's different ones that I just kind of came up with. So I thought I'd show you a quick tutorial, but even more so, I would give you an overview of what these different buttons and what things are. So let's do something super basic, and it'll be an intro to Keyshape. I don't even remember the name Keyshape yet. I keep wanting to call it key pass and key phrase. So you'll have to forgive me if I botch the name. But let's go ahead and let's drop these. We're not going to save any of those. Oops. So, all right. So the first thing you'll notice is it's very Mac oriented, like Sketch and Pages and iWork, numbers and such. When you first open the new product, there's the object tree location, which is this thing here. It started down on the right, down here. But Juan's version, and I like it, I move it over to the left. So that's from Preferences, which is just a normal command, comma, Preferences there. So I think what's the best way to show you what all these different buttons do is by doing a simple demo. So let's try to recreate this thing because it's pretty simple, and you can see a lot of different actions from that one product. So we're going to try to rebuild that, but since I already built it, it might not be exactly the same. So you have the menu over here, and this is the selector tool. And the cool thing is it follows a lot of shortcuts that Illustrator has. So this is the V tool. This is the anchor points. That's an A tool, or more of a vector tool, a node tool as they call it. This is the transform tool. I don't really think that's transform actually. I think that's more of an anchor tool. Well, okay, calls it a transform tool, but we'll see it in a second. This product, again, it's so new. I haven't been able to even merge pencil products. I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's go ahead and just start with a rectangle, which is an R. And you start here, we can create a rectangle. Now you'll see it over here, and currently you'll want to name everything. So this comes as a rec. You can name this as, I'll call it box. And from here, you have over here on the right side kind of the panels as they're related to this box. So again, just to reiterate what Keyshape does is it animates vector images. So let's do the most basic thing of moving this thing from left to right. So we're going to start right there, and the way you can do it is, so down at the bottom is your animating tool, and you have two little icons down here. And the first one you would do is you would just grab, you would click this right icon here. It has a little plus there. And there's a variety of preset, or really these are all the things that you can animate of a rectangle or a box. When you change to it, there are other kinds of things you can animate. There's a thing called a shape or a path, like right here. If I do a vector tool, you're going to see that it changes to the word path, where if I just do a rectangle, it comes as a rec. So you'll see it kind of handles these different products differently. If I do a hello, oops. So if you do command, well, we'll get back to that. So this is a text. And then here's a rectangle down here. And here's a box because we named it. So the idea is that you want to double click these and name this. So we'll call this, box 2. And we're going to just delete these other ones. But the point was to show you that there are different kinds of products. And why that's important, let me undo that real quick, is that, and this, again, I had to learn this the hard way, but these two different boxes, when you hit plus, for example, you're not going to see the word shape on here. One of Juan's morphing products or tutorials had the word shape, but I didn't see it. But if you go to path, here I am now, if you click it, you'll see it down here. There is shape. So I'm not entirely sure why it deviates so much. We'll come back to that. So let's just start again with this one simple one. And what I'm going to do is I actually don't even need to worry about all these different preset things. This button right here is an enable auto keyframing. And so by clicking it, you'll see that auto keyframe is enabled. And what this means is that this thing is now recording anything you do related to all of these activities over here. And it's going to go ahead and just move them. It is a very handy tool, and even though you're going to learn how to eventually create these things by hand, there's no cheating by using this auto keyframe. It's very handy. So if we take this thing, you're going to watch that when I just literally, I haven't changed anything down in the animator or all the properties, but this box, when I just grab it and literally move it, because we are recording, it's going to move right here, and you'll see that down here it grabbed the position keyframe, which is this one that's already, it's the very top of the list. So it created position for us, and what it did was it moved the timeline from 0 seconds to 1 second, and it moved it from this data point here. So if I hit rewind, you're going to see this box go back to its original position. And then if I hit play, you're going to watch it go from 0 seconds to 1 second, and it's going to move from this data point here to this data point because auto keyframe. Now I'm going to unrecord that because that no longer matters. What it does is now if you hit play, boom, it just recorded it. You can you can do repeat if you want to watch it just go over and over again, which I did a few times. Feels good. Now that's really fast, but here's what you do is you take this, see how my cursor moved, just move it back to 2 seconds, 3 seconds. You can zoom down here. You can zoom in or zoom out. So I'll move it to normal, do 4 seconds, and then you take the last ending node and you move it to 4 seconds, and that's how you make it now go slower. So now it takes 4 seconds to do the exact same thing. And you'll notice it's a very straight line. So what's very cool is that's now, let's introduce the second icon here, which is the cubic Bezier. I think that's how you say it. But when you click that, you're going to see that this red line is the red and the green. Again, I haven't read, there's not really straightforward documentation. I'm making up the first tutorial I've ever seen on these two green lines, or the green and the red line. So hopefully I'm explaining this the right way. And either Juan, you can correct me, or the Keyshape people can tell me what it is. So, but what I do know is that down here you have all these little lines, and they're not actually as clear. They call it spline out curve. But really what you need to do, like with any good tool, because this is a tool, you just need to practice and poke around. So watch what happens though, is that if you click a node, I'm going to click the red one, the beginning one, and I'm going to click right here, and that didn't do anything, so I'm going to click the next one, and now see it changed it. And so what this is doing is it's a timing feature that if you do, the flatter it is, the slower it goes. the more vertical it is, the faster it goes. So if I move this thing all the way out like that, it's going to go really slow, and it's going to pick up speed like that. So slow, and then it kind of goes real fast. Slow and fast. And then I'm going to go over to this other one, and I'm going to try to find another one. I think it's that one. Okay, so again, you have control over the timing of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it go really fast in the middle and then really slow for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to push back here to start over. I would love a shortcut like in iMovie, you hit Z and it goes back over. It would be perfect if this timeline start had a shortcut, but that's my recommendation. Here you go, and then if you hit spacebar, it starts, goes really slow, boom, and then it goes fast. So you have the luxury of doing that. Now again, I don't really know what this green line does, and then I kind of just fool around with it, and it looks like it messes with timing at some level, but I'm only less than 12 hours new on this product. So this is the timing. We're going to come back to this in a second, but our goal is to create something like this. So we're going to work our way toward that. So here is the next thing with that this box, you can delete so I've noticed this, I don't know if there's a bug or on purpose, but if you click delete twice, you actually delete your box up here. I don't think you should, but if I delete my animations, my box goes away. So I'm going to delete position, and then I delete again, and it went away. I guess that's because that's selected. But if I just select box up here, it's selecting that. I would think I just want to delete the animations and not the actual vector yet. But here we go. So here's the box, and let's move it back. Notice it's not highlighted there. And so what I really like about this product is that it exports everything to SVG. So if you know much about scalable vector graphics, the idea is that these are a type of code graphic, and so you can immediately preview this product. So let me just hit undo to prove the point that up here is preview, and you can actually see what this would look like in a browser, and you have a collection of browsers over here. So if I hit preview, you immediately see it, and because there is no oh yeah, I did do repeat on it, so it'll show you that. And if you hit Command E, or if you come up and you export right here, you can actually export it as a SVG, an animated GIF, a movie, and I've done all of these different things. So it's pretty cool. The other thing that I love about it is what I intend on using this product for is I'm a Ruby on Rails senior software developer. I like the front end. I used to be a graphic designer. Hopefully you've seen that in a couple of my videos up to this point. But I love that I can actually export this product into CSS animation. So we're not going to do that right now, but let's focus on actually building this thing. So you'll see that it's pretty responsive, and it moves these products down here. I'm going to get rid of all of that. And the first thing I'm going to do is I want to show one of the killer features that Juan, he has a video on this about SVG outlines. So I'm going to take a rectangle, and now let's go ahead and do this line around it. So the way you do that is you start with let's go ahead, and we're going to go ahead and look at the rectangle, or excuse me, the stroke and the fill. And what we want to begin with this this stroke, let's start where the stroke has a black stroke, and we'll give it, a 7. Now with the stroke, there's this place right here called advanced stroke, and you'll want to have these two, you'll see, but you want to do that. Now again, let's get rid of the fill. So we're going to get no fill on this. Oh, it wasn't selected, so I'm going to select it. Oh, let me back up and say where I was selected. So the way it works too is that I'm currently selected on rec. So we'll call this one outline. But then the document right here, when you click on it, it will show you document dimensions. And those document dimensions here, they will fluctuate with, notice how the board is shifting. And as far as I can tell, if your product is out, or any of your designs are outside of the document, it just won't show. Now let's see if it'll make me a liar. So one of the shortcuts is Command Return will automatically open up the preview. So instead of me clicking preview, I'm going to go Command Return, and there it is. So it does not show anything, and I'm just going to get rid of that. And then if I move this into that and hit Command Return, now you see it. So with the outline, what I'm going to, if you click on document, you'll see the various document related content, but you have to click on document. So it looks like you can name the document. So this will be my document. Yep. Okay. So there it is. So here's the outline, and over in stroke and fill, I'm going to get rid of the, I'm actually going to keep it white because you'll see that it glitches if you go from nothing to something. So I'll just start with white. So I'm going to start there with white. Now, again, I attribute Juan's great outline of font to teach me this next technique. But what happens is, now you have to pay attention in advanced stroke. This says total path length down here, and it tells you the total path length is 1940 right here. And if I change that, you'll see that that's a live update. So now it's 13, and we can leave it there. So watch this, where we're going to take this tool, and we're going to put dash one time, and then you do semicolon a second time, and then you're going to put it into offset. And when I hit tab to get out of that, my outline is going to disappear as it just did. So it's now gone. And so here is where if you hit record immediately, now what I'm going to turn around and do on advanced, I'm going to take the offset. Oops, I'm on document. So I just need to move back to outline. And there it is. And I'm still, like, it's not necessarily recording like a video recording. It's just paying attention to vector points and changes on this. So nothing has changed yet. But here we are at 3 seconds. That doesn't matter. If you for what we're about to do, you take the offset here, and it's currently at this same number as the total path length, and everything's 0. I don't exactly know how that works, but it works good enough. So now if we take 0 and then I hit tab, you're going to see it shows back up, and it immediately created this thing down here. It created a line that I'm going to uncheck this, the squiggly line, and we're going to get back to a timeline view right here. So what this means is that we are now, because we're in a recording, and I'm going to unrecord right now, at 3, you see that we have a data point right here and a vector. We have which is the highlighted one. And then back here at 0 seconds, we have the empty one. Now, if I take this is a very important line here. If I take this and I drag it, you're going to watch the line is going to start to move like a string. See that? It's moving, and it's moving all the way back, which is very cool. And it's changing the offset. So the offset is going from the 1388 back all the way to 0. I don't know, again, the mathematics on that, but it works, and I like it. So you go that way, and you see it. So that's the slow motion, and if I hit play and I'm on repeat, I just hit play, boom. Again, Juan, you did the heavy lifting and figuring that out. Thank you very much. So with this, you'll notice that at the end, like I said, here's that problem. So you'll just want to find the join, which is probably this guy or this one. Nope, it's that. Oh, I'm not highlighted. So I'm going to take the outline, and it's probably that one or that one. There it is. So again, you just got to kind of mess with it. So we have that line. Now, here's the other cool thing is that when you have this line, we have a couple things to show. So you are in control of the way this, and also notice this, that this line goes all the way to the end of this dark gray. So if you want, it would go all the way to 5 seconds, and we're going to do this for dramatic effect, and it's just going to sit there and not repeat. But then once it goes to the 5 seconds, So if you want it to repeat at exactly the completion of your node, then move that over, and I'm just hitting spacebar to get it to go, and you see it there. Now, the other thing I noticed is that let's say we don't want the direction to go top from the left to the right, but we want the top to go down and over. So you have control of that. One of the ways you do that is, let's see, again, this is all not really scripted, so we're going to find, it's going to say this reverse path, I believe. But what I first want to find is there's a thing that you need to be aware of. It's called, and I think you got to go to the node tool, and you're going to see that it's very subtle, but there's a little I'm going to do the node tool, that little arrow right there. And this means that this node is the starting node, which is very cool. You actually have control over which node is the beginning one. So I don't want that to be the node. I'm going to click this one down here, and I'm going to say, where was it? It's something about set start node. So this object, while I'm on this object is kind of your primary menu item. So you're going to find set start node, and you're going to watch that little arrow down here. So it doesn't show up in Zoom, but you got to get back on node tool, and then it shows up. But I'm not going to have it start up there. I'm going to do it down here. So I'm going to highlight this node with the A tool. I'm going to click it, and I'm going to hit set start node. And then I'm going to zoom back out, and I'm going to hit rewind. Again, I'd love a shortcut here to go back to the beginning. But then now the start node is down there. And the other thing I wanted to say with that, what did I want to say? Is the reverse. So let's say we like it down there, but we want it to go up this way instead of that way. So you would go to a reverse path, I believe. Yep, there we go. So you have control over which node starts this and which direction it goes. You also have control over the speed and the time. So I already showed you that if you click, so this is a little bit of a review, but it'll help. Again, that this bevel edge, that it's either really looks like an on or off view. So right now it's off, so you have the straight node timeline. But if you want to do the timing, then you would click this, and then you would click a bullet point here, and then we'll find which one works. And so what this is telling us is that it's going to start slow, it's going to go kind of faster and slow, but I want it to go, what do I want it to do? I want it to kind of go slow, pick up, and then kind of come back. I mean, it's really, you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to try it that way. So it's nice and even, and then it speeds up. So vertical means it speeds up. So let's see that. So it's going nice and slow, and then boom. It's pretty fast. But you get the idea. So I'm going to move on because we got a lot more stuff to cover. But so there's that. So it goes slow and fast. So you have that option, which helps give it a little bit more life. All right, so the next thing I want to show, so you unclick that there. Now, this is a 3-second, and you can start this at, if you think that takes too long or too short, you just click the end node, the last one on the right, and you can drag it to be a 1 second. So this is now a 1 second spin, and then we're going to see 2 seconds of dead air because it does it, and then it just waits for our timeline, and then it does it. And then the other cool thing is that if you click on the beginning one, you can drag it to start. Nope, that's not true. If you got to hit shift and have both of them, and then if you click it, you can move the whole thing to start, whenever you want. So you're going to have this layered effect. So it does it at the end. So there's 2 seconds of nothing, and then it happens. So that's cool. Now, we're going to talk about inserting custom nodes in a second, but we're going to keep going. Now, the next technique is, let's see, what should we talk about? I'm going to go back to this guy here, and what did I do? Okay, so I stretched it. So stretching it, oh yeah, so let's take a look at our product. If you hit Command Return, or if you hit Preview, let's just hit Preview here. It's showing it in the browser, which is fantastic. And so again, you might not like it repeating that many times. You can have it go one time by just unchecking this loop playback. And then you can hit Command Return, and it opens, and it will only go one time, like so. So you can see it keeps opening them. One of the other tools that I love, this guy Jackson Black, he has a ton of tools, and I so far do not see a swatch like Illustrator where you have a swatch key, and I never pick good colors when I'm here. I never do. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too many, and so the chances of a good color are terrible. So I use this guy's Jackson. He has a ton of tools. Let me just go ahead and show you a couple others because it's worth it. Brent Jackson. I said Jackson Black. Brent Jackson. Check these out. The one we're looking at is colorable, but I want to show you monochrome, and I don't really want to do shade because I don't think that'll work. But let me just make sure this is the one I'm thinking of. It'll show up in a minute. There's what was the other one? Well, this is sufficient. So this is monochrome, and what you can do is you can find a hex value, and then if you scroll down, it shows you a variety of different ones. There was one other tool, but I forget the name of it at this moment, but you can kind of like find a cool blue or whatever color this way. But he's also done a great job with colorable. Oh, no, the other one I want to show you is Hello Color, because that one's great. This one right here. This one, he's already gone to the trouble of providing a good color contrast. So you just hit refresh or click, and it shows a different set of colors. And then here's all these other complementary colors. So I use these tools for color hex because Brent has already gone to the trouble of doing the legwork there. So this colorable, I just found this cool blue and this text color. So instead of using black, I'm going to use this and show you how I use it. So I grab that background. Actually, let's take that background color. I'm going to go with the outline. And you'll notice that stroke dash offset has nothing to do with color. And what I mean by that is the color is not going to change ever based on this property. So stroke is right now black. I'm going to make it that cool blue color, and I'm going to watch it go this way. But what I can do now is I can also, so here's where you have a variety of different preset options. You just need to poke around and get used to the vocabulary with this. But stroke color right here. So stroke color is the same idea. You have the ability to change the color. And you can do it. I'm going to show you both ways. I'm going to show you through the recorder right here, and then I'm going to delete that and show it to you manually, because you're going to end up doing both of them, and just whichever one's better. So I'm going to hit reverse. I'm going to hit record. Right now you see that there's nothing here. And again, it doesn't matter when you start it because you can always adjust everything. So right now it's recording, and I'm going to change the stroke color to this color, this dark blue. And so I'm going to hit the stroke and just fill that in and hit tab. So now it's dark blue, and you'll notice over here that stroke dash offset, which is the length of it, has not been changed. We've now added a second layer called stroke color. And what's going to happen here is we're going to watch that from here to here. I don't actually honestly know what's going to happen. So let's just hit play and get out of that. And it doesn't matter like if you keep this on, but it's just very touchy. So if you do any other adjustments, they will be recorded. So I can keep this going even though it's recorded, and it just shows you. Let's hit the the infinite repeat and watch what's happening. So it's staying on that dark color, but did you notice that right here at the very beginning it changes colors? So what's happening is that right here at 0 seconds, this color, so I'm going to pause it and I'm going to click on not this node. I'm going to take this red recording. This red line means it's recording. If I click red and remove it, it's going to turn back to black. So that, now if I go back here, it shows you that that's when it changed blue or to dark blue. But if I go all the way back, you're going to see that this node right here is that light blue, which is up here. So you can see it up in the stroke category. If I go over here, you see it changed. So one thing we can do is we can just literally take this and stretch it here. And so it's going to begin with the light blue and it's going to end with the dark blue because of the same weight. And then we can even stretch this out for a couple more techniques. I'm going to hit restart and I'm going to hit, and we're going to just watch let's do it in the browser. I think it just really makes it more impactful. So command return, and so now we watch it where it's changing from, the light blue to the dark. Now you notice that the light blue doesn't get much representation. So what I'm going to do is move that. I'm going to move it from the beginning stroke color. I'm going to have it start at 2 seconds in. So the thing's already gone and then it happens. So we can watch that. And then for the sake of demo, I'll move the time back to 3 and hit so we watch it still. Now right there it goes. I like that. Now again, you might not see it because it's such a small line. So what you have technique, let's add a third layer, which is neither stroke color or dash offset. If we click on outline, then we can add another one called stroke width. So you have options over all these. So I'm going to take stroke width, and it starts right now at 7 points. So let's do our first introduction into not the red dot, but manual. So I take this right here, this timeline, and I can move it, and you watch everything is happening. And then from here, this little diamond right in here, it actually is pretty multi-purpose. If you don't have anything, now it's multi-purpose enough that when I click it, I'm not sure if it's going to delete this, but I actually suspect that it's going to, hold on, my alarm's going off. All right. Oh, I'm back. So I think what's going to happen is it's going to create one. So it does. So it created a node, and what we're right now interested in is stroke width. So we notice that stroke width is 7 right now, and it's 7 there, and it's also 7 at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, how about let's just make it really fat. So since they're both highlighted, it moves it. So that's fine. So we'll take it at 1 second, and we'll make it, and then I'm going to click just the 1, and I'm going to make it here, and I'm going to make it 14 so it's going to end. Now what's just happened, and I'm not entirely sure why, is I'm going up to 16 and it created a new node. So that may or may not be intentional, but what I want it to end right here at 16, and then I want it 1 second at 7, and then at the beginning, I don't want it at 16, I want it at 7. So I'm not sure why it did that, but what I can do is I can just delete that node, and I think I can delete it by clicking. So right now it's highlighted. If I click this node button again, it goes away. So it's going to start at 7 here, and then it's going to go to 16 here. So let's watch that in action. Fail. It did not do it. So stroke width, let's see. Oh, see, it went back to 7 for some reason. So I'm going to go back to this, and I'm going to click. There we go. We're watching it get to, and just for dramatic effect, I'm going to go to 37. So it doesn't make me a liar. And here we go again. Oh, so it's starting at 37 again. Now, I'm going to go back to 1. There's 7, and I want that, I'm clicking on stroke width, and I have the timeline on the node, and I'm going to click 7 right here. So hopefully that will do the trick. So now I see 7 here. I'm going to go ahead and jump to my timeline, and I see 7. So I'm actually not entirely sure why stroke width is not cooperating. But we have bigger fish to fry, so we'll come back to that because it's not really a cool technique anyway, to be blovating on the stroke width. But I am curious, so I'll come back. That'll be a homework assignment for me. But let's go. So one of the things is I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. Now, here's the next thing is that I want that this rectangle, let's go back to the demo here, it stretches out. See that? It stretches after it hits it. So let's go back, and what I want to do by stretching it is I'm going to be on the stroke, and this is where this enable auto keyframing is. It's a very nice tool. I think, again, why I'm really excited about Keyshape is that the underlying engine, dear developers, fantastic job. I really like where this product is headed. Please keep developing it. So let's go ahead and start that. We're going to strengthen this. So we'll start with auto keyframe. And then what we can do with transform is one of two things. Is we could literally type in the position, but I'm just going to go ahead and grab, I believe with the selection tool, V, I can just move it right here. And we're going to see that when I move it, there will be a registered position down here. So I'm going to move it like that. Oh, it's changing shape actually. So shape is being changed. And I want to wait till it kind of goes around the horn a little bit. So I'm gonna move this back to 5 seconds. And since they're both highlighted, I'm gonna move it to where I'm gonna line it there. And so this is where the creativity comes in, that you have, well, let's see it in action before I stretch it. But you have the luxury of kind of figuring out how you want it to work. Okay. So I want that last line to be touching it before it stretches. So I'm gonna return to the dash offset, and I'm gonna go back to, I'm gonna change the start place. I want it up here again. So I'm gonna take the vector tool, I'm gonna zoom in, I'm gonna click on this one, and I'm gonna select set start node. And it's showing that it's pointing down. It's a very small arrow, but I'm going to have it reverse. Oops. And I'm going to do reverse path. So now it's going to go that way. Oops, let's get it back. Oh, what did I do? Look at how cool that is. So this is the kind of design. How cool is that? I have no idea what I just did, but I'm liking it. Boom. So this is, if you see what I did? I had this auto keyframe. I believe that jacked me up. So I'm going to correct my mistake. But this is one of the examples of where I think that, another alarm. Okay. So let's just get back to, this is the original. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move the time. And so it's doing that kind of weird movement because the starting point. But where I want the start to be on this shape at the beginning is, so I'm going to grab the vector point, zoom in, try this again. So I'm going to click here, click that. Oops. Yep, I'm going to highlight that one. And I'm going to set start node, and it's pointing down, and I'm going to do object reverse path. I'll zoom back out, and hopefully that will be the stink bug just landed on my laptop. Come on, dude. Okay, so that's very interesting that it's doing it. Oh, I wonder if it's because, I actually don't know. But obviously by me moving the start path there, but this is the kind of design and development. But let's see. I think I can fix this. So if we go there, we see it right there. And if I move it all the way over here, oh, see, it ends over there. So I'm not sure if that's on purpose, but I'm gonna click here and I'm gonna keep the start path there and I'm gonna reverse it. So if we go back, let's see what happens there. Why would I have two? I'm not sure. Very interesting. All right, so we might have to abandon the original vision of replicating this because I can't tell and I don't want to waste your time. So we're seeing that it's going all over the place. But the idea is that you can create a couple different moving pieces. So let me show you maybe from a new rectangle. So I'm going to just hide that one. And I'm going to push R. I'm going to create a new rectangle. And from here, what I can do is, I can do that. And then I can go ahead and hit record. And then hit V and just change the width. Now by changing the width, you see that that rectangle went from here to here. And let's move the time all the way down back there. And so you see it moves out. Then what we can do with that as well, it's a little too obnoxious. Go ahead and click, give it a 2 second. It takes 2 seconds to move out. Then I want to add a fill to it. So right now it's just simply white. And if I go back to recording, and the fill is currently beginning at white at 0. And so anytime I change it to another color, which I'll take colorable in that blue. Oops, I'm sorry. I grabbed stroke instead of fill. So there it is. So it ends on blue. And so we can see that it immediately flashes. So we can watch this. I can stretch it out. So you can see how it's giving itself the, so it begins here. And let's say it will only take shape after 1 second. So this kind of really demonstrates that you will build layers and just make them the way you want them to look. And I won't go into the bezeling or beveling, however you say that, the cubic Bezier. The other two, there's two more things I want to talk about. I want to talk about morphing, and then I want to talk about masking, because those are the two other concepts that I needed to learn. So if you take a rectangle and if you fill it in with that same color, but if you take a rectangle and I want to fill it, I'm going to fill it nothing, but it's sitting right there. And so I'm going to grab the rectangle, and then here's the other one, and I'll go ahead and add a stroke on this one, but that's going to end up disappearing because it's the mask. But what's interesting is okay, so what's going to happen is you select both of them, and then you go to Object, Masking and Clipping, and you do Make Clip Mask, not Make Mask. You make Clip Mask. And what's going to happen is the outside of the square is going to disappear. And now also the stroke disappeared, but you can't actually adjust the rectangle. And notice that here is the what happened, and I'm going to hit undo and then I'll do redo so you can see the path. Here's rectangle, clip path, and rectangle. So here's the original, and here is, I'll call it future clip mask. And then here's the rectangle visible. So I'm going to select both of those, Object, make clip mask. So here's visible, and this is future clip mask. And so we lost our actual rectangle, and there it is there. It's under visible. But then if you want to change the visibility of this, you're going to see it there. And so let's use the auto enable. And so let's start it invisible. So we're going to start it invisible, then we're going to click it, and then open it. And that one is future clip mask. Oops, let's go all the way. And then I'll just stop it, hit rewind, and there it is. Now let's see. I'm going to get rid of this guy because he's now no longer necessary. The stroke on this is also a surprise to me because I didn't add a stroke to the actual rectangle, but where would that have been? I'm not sure why that added a stroke there. But that's how you make a mask. And then you could also, let's go back to this. Here's outline. I'm gonna get rid of that. Future clip mask, and here's width of that mask. This is visible. Oh, here's stroke color. Maybe stroke color? No, there's no stroke color. There's fill. There's stroke on that. Let's just get rid of it and see if that helps. I'm not sure why that does that, but the purpose of that was to show masking. The last thing I want to show you that I thought was pretty cool, and it tripped me up, was you have to have a path. So let's go back to the, here is the vector tool, and we'll create a triangle, and then I'm going to copy and paste that. Oh, I'm going to get rid of, see it's auto keyframing and it's doing all this moving around. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to just delete this, and I'll do, that's a P. Pen tool, triangle, right here. So I'll show you what I've done so far, and then we'll talk about what I want this thing to be able to do. But we'll do that, and then I'm going to also do a pen tool of a square. Doesn't have to be perfect because that's the idea. So a couple things to note is that when you click this over on path, it shows you the node count, and the nodes are representative of these different endpoints. That's 1, 2, and 3 nodes. So this then has 4 nodes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want in morphing from a triangle to a square, you want to have the same number of nodes. And I believe the way you do it is you just double click using the node tool. Now, this is something I'd like to have happen, and I haven't figured out, is how to give this a beveled edge, or how do I actually give this thing some feet so I can give it a rounded edge. I'm not sure yet, but that'll come in time. But so this now has the same number of nodes, and so this is the parent triangle, or the origin triangle, and then this is, or the origin shape, and then here's the shape that we want to turn into. So the way it works is I'm going to go ahead and square. I'm going to name these so I can keep track. And so this is the beginning node, and what I'm going to do is that because it's highlighted, I'm going to add a shape right here. And remember, shape only shows up if you're a path product. It doesn't show up for rectangle currently. I'm not sure why. So there it is, shape. Now then what you do, and so there it shows here, and I can move that back to 0. And then I'm going to take this one, I'm just going to click it, and I'm going to copy it, Command C, which is the same as copy here, Command C, copy here. And then what you need to do is you highlight again the original vector. And instead of paste, you do paste shape, which, look, it does not have a shortcut. For the longest time, I kept hitting paste and paste style, thinking that was what I was looking for, but really what you want is paste shape. So when I click that, it just turned, look at that, it turned into the identical square. So I'm going to get rid of this square because I no longer need it. And now this square is sitting on the second node. So are you ready for some magic? When I hit Command, here we're just going to, I'll just move this over so we watch it. We're going to rewind, and you can already see that it's in the triangle. And for the grand reveal, Command return, look at that. So it flips it down because it is down below, and we can watch that by watching the timeline, and you get to watch frame by frame. So if you don't like where it's positioned, then just take it and move it up, right? And let's see if it makes a liar out of me. Okay, it does. But at least you've seen how to morph. And so what this is doing is it's showing us where these vector items are going. So let me just get this where it doesn't look like it inverts itself. Let me just turn it into an original shape. So I'm going to go from here, I'm going to go there, and I'm going to move this. I'm going to use the V tool. This is, sorry, the node tool. I keep wanting to say vector, but it's node tool. So the A tool, and I'm going to move this. I'm going to select it, move it there. I can't believe this is really how I have to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the end product and see what, let's see. So if I move this guy back up here, because it's inverting, let's see if that'll help. Okay, yeah, it does. So you're just going to have to pay attention to these images, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight that. So if I look, I have the timeline over here, and I have that one highlighted. If I push this diamond, I think it does something very different than if I push this over the timeline. So I'm going to click it, and it deleted that one. But if I go over this and I hit, it gets rid of it. So I'm not sure if there's, it'd be cool if there's a shortcut for that. A keyboard shortcut is what I mean. But now we're watching that thing evolve. And you get the idea. So let's see, we have covered the main items over here. Now, I have not figured out the pencil tool in using that yet, so I won't waste your time with that. I haven't got down to these. I haven't used images yet. I tried symbols, but I can't say I've figured them out entirely yet. We covered the auto keyframe, which is fantastic, and then the condition. So all in all, it's a great way to animate. I guess maybe I should show you why I'm excited about it. So if we do Command Enter and we watch this guy here, what I like about it is that I can go ahead and export it, Command E, but I'm going to export it here as an SVG, and I'm going to say I want the animation CSS, and sure, I'll have it loop forever, and I'm going to hit export. Now when I open it in something like Atom, which is a text editor, but you see here's the SVG, which means that it's not a heavy item inside of your actual HTML and CSS because it's style. You see it there, and then kind of first with Bulma. But the idea is these animations can eventually become logos and who knows what else. But yeah, that's it. 24 hours, less than 24 hours into this product. I'm excited. Keyframes, Keyshapes. Yeah, that's part of why I can't remember the name. I keep saying keyframes, KeyPass, but it's Keyshape. So hopefully you enjoyed that. Feel free to leave questions, and I'll do my best. I'm going to keep tinkering around, and hopefully I'll have something else to show Again, thank you, Juan, for paving the way. Thank you, Keyshape team, for building a cool product. And, I look forward to what you all do. Bye.